Alright, Hosses, so now that we got Django downloaded and installed, set up properly on our computer, what we can do now is we can create our very first Django project. So this is going to be the process that you go through anytime you want to create a new Django website, and that is this. Go ahead and navigate to wherever you want to create your Django project files, and I'm just going to stick mine on my desktop, why not, and type Django admin. So this is a tool that we got whenever we downloaded Django, and it allows us to do a bunch of cool things. And in this video, we're going to be using this to create the starter files. And these are just the core files that you have to include in every Django website. So the command for that is just start project. So that's what that does. Now the only other thing you need to type after this is you just need to give your project a name. And this is just the name of the directory. So usually this would be something like the New Boston if I was creating it for my website, or like hockey website or something like that. But for this tutorial series, I am just going to name it something super generic website. So there you go, hit enter, and I'll show you guys what it did. So what that just did is it created this directory, website, and if I double click this, we can see that it made some files right in there. Now I am going to talk to you guys about what all these files are, but I'm actually going to open up an IDE and do it because I think it'll be a little bit better. And I'm actually using JetBrains, or excuse me, well, yeah, JetBrains is the company that makes PyCharm, and this is the coolest IDE in the world. So if you guys want to use the same one, then you can, but you don't need to. You can actually just follow along with this tutorial using Notepad or Sublime or anything you want, and it's going to work fine. But if you want to follow along with me, then just go ahead and click open and navigate to wherever you just made it, and mine was in my desktop website. So hit OK. Alright, mate, so that's a little bit better. I like having all my files on the left hand side and then the content on the right, so I can show you guys both things at once. But this is JetBrains, and by the way, real quick, if you guys are using PyCharm, then what you can do is if you go to File, New Project, and click Django, then oh, sorry, got whooping cough. Then you can just go ahead and give it a name, and it just does the exact same thing as we just did. But if you don't, then go ahead and use the command line, and boom, roasted, good to go. So the first thing I want to mention is this root directory, this one, aka this one that just got created, you can actually name that to whatever you want. The name doesn't really matter, it's just whatever you want to name it. It's just the container for all of the files inside. So, you know, it doesn't mean anything special to Django. However, the files inside here, their names are important. So we see that we have this directory right here, which is the same name as its root directory. So that's why I said you can rename this one, the parent one, if it gets a little bit confusing, but keep this one the same. So before we get to that, let's go ahead and talk about this file right here, manage.py. By the way, never edit this file. Never try to add anything to it. Don't delete it. Just kind of ignore it. All this is, this manage.py, it's a program that comes with Django that lets you do a bunch of cool stuff to your project. And it allows you to do things like access the database and create users for your website. And we'll learn how to use this later on. But again, this is not a file that we're ever going to want to touch or manage or edit or anything like that. So that's what that is. Now, if you guys are like, all right, well, where is the code that we're going to be working with? Well, we're going to be working with some of the files in this directory, and we're also going to be creating some other ones. So go ahead and expand this, and I'll talk to you guys about all of these. So the first one, this init.py, all this is a file that tells Python to view this directory as a Python package. Now, there's actually nothing inside here, and that's because you don't even need any code in there. Again, like I said, it just says, hey, Python, this isn't just the normal directory on your computer. This is actually a Python package, so, you know, just view it as one. Now, the settings.py file, what I was going to do before this tutorial is I was like, all right, I'm going to go through all the settings and explain each one by one. But then I was like, if I do that, then people are probably just going to be like, all right, going to bed now. Django sucks. This is boring. So instead of just trying to explain all of these settings, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually explain every single thing as we kind of need it and get to it. I think it'll be a lot better that way, and it'll make a lot more sense than rather just trying to pound everything into your brain. But real quick, this file is just the settings and configuration options for your website. So like the overall settings for your entire website. Just think of it like that. Now this next one, urls.py, these are the URL declarations. In other words, it's kind of like the table of contents for your website. That's how people always explain it. So what I mean by this is whenever you go to a website, and let me just, what do I have up here? All right. So whenever you go to a website, you type in, of course, the website's name and then some URL after it. So whenever I type account, it gives me my stream. Whenever I type forum, then it gives me the forum. Whenever I type videos or go to this URL, then it shows me all the videos. So again, this part of the URL tells my website how to behave or what it's supposed to do. Now, most of the time, you're going to give it a URL and it's going to return a web page. But sometimes it doesn't return a web page. Sometimes if you go to the URL like logout.php, then it actually just performs some functionality and logs the user out and doesn't just, give you a web page. So again, what this file is basically saying, okay, look at whatever URL the user requested and then perform some functionality. And there's a lot more to it than that, but that's the basic overview of it. Talk more about that later. And this last one, WSGI, this stands for Web Server Gateway Interface, and it's just a special type of web server, and we're going to learn about that a lot later. Don't even worry about it right now, but that's the basic overview of a core Django project. So again, every single website that you have is going to be composed of all of these files. And again, you never touch this one, and we're not going to be using this one a lot or this one, so it's actually a lot easier. So once we start getting into actually developing it, you guys are going to see exactly what these do, and it's going to make a lot more sense. But yeah, that's the overview of it. And just to leave you guys with something cool, whenever you install Django and set it up like this, it actually comes with a web server, and it's not a full featured web server like you would actually want to host a actual website with it, but it comes with like a little mini web server that you can use for development. So if you just want to boot it up and check out what our website looks like right now, then what you need to do is you need to navigate to wherever you created your project. So I'm already in my desktop. I want to go ahead and navigate to website and just type ls and make sure that you see this, your project's name and manage.py. That makes sure that you're in the correct location. And again, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using this manage tool to boot our web server. So let me just go ahead and clear out of this to make it a little bit prettier. Now in order to do this, type Python manage.py, and actually you don't even need that, manage.py. So this is a tool that we can use. It comes with a bunch of different features. What we're going to be doing is run server. So again, we're just going to start that little development server that came with Django, and it says dun dun dun. All right, so starting development server at HTTP 127.0.0.1 port 8000. So if you just open up any web browser right now, then you can go to this location and you should see this right there. So again, Django came with a test server, and right now we have a home page looking beautiful. And actually what I do is I actually bookmark this. So that's why I have it right there, and that way I just don't have to type in the URL all the time. And that's what I recommend doing since you're going to be going to this page a lot. But anyways, look at that. Our very first Django website. But yeah, in the next tutorial, we're going to be spicing this up, and it's going to be cool. So I'll see you then.